Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, as always, depending on where you are. Hope you're well. Here in Spain, it is Monday morning, just before 9 o'clock. But Monday, we know what Mondays are like. But anyway, there's a lot of worse things can happen. At least we've made it to Monday. Okay, so I've got my coffee, second coffee. Coming round a little bit. I'm going to light the candles because this video, what I'm going to talk to you about in this video, as far as I know, that Samantha Murphy herself has not been found, but another body has been found in Ballarat. And it just made me think when I saw the news in the night, quite often I wake up in the middle of the night and I just have a little check on my phone, see if there's any news about Samantha, because of course, when I'm sleeping, that is daytime in Australia, and saw this about this other murder, another woman who's been murdered in Ballarat. And I thought, what is it about? Is there a high crime rate there generally? And so anyway, what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to tell you about what's happened, and then we're going to have a look at the crime rates in Ballarat. Now, I know I have a lot of high quizzical. I have a lot of viewers from Ballarat now, a lot of subscribers from that local area, obviously, because of the Samantha Murphy case. I mean, have you thought of it being a dangerous place where you live? And the people who've been arrested in this murder that's happened recently, again, two young men, 20, 21 years old, 22 years old. Hi, Mariah. Hi, Tracy. What is going on with these young men? It just seems even worse, doesn't it, when you think of it as being young men like that? They're very, very young. And then, of course, there was also recently, claimedly, a murder-suicide, though I have received contact from someone who knew that couple and who insists that the man would not have done that. But anyway, that's another story for another video along the line when more things come out. But yeah, it just seems that now, I know that before I wouldn't have even known where Ballarat was, so I wouldn't have noticed a crime in Ballarat. So of course we're all drawn to Ballarat because of what happened with Samantha. So it's like we're noticing it now. But when I looked at the crime figures, it seems like this year has been unusual in Ballarat. So Tracy's saying in her local town, a woman was stabbed by her partner. Oh, I saw that on the news. Is that the, he's an Asian guy, I think. Yeah, what is going on all over the world? It just feels like whether it's I'm noticing it more, maybe it was always happening. I think in the UK there's definitely more stabbings now than there ever used to be. Stabbing is a common thing in the UK now. Obviously in America the concern is gun crime normally. And I don't know about Australia. It seems like I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to light my candle. Again, at the root of it all, Samantha still hasn't been brought home, the actual case that we're following. So I light the candle for her and for all the other people. Claudia Lawrence, we looked at last night. Little Cello, Anna Knezovich, Sebastian Rogers. There's so many missing people out there. We only touched the tip of the iceberg, don't we? But I do think violence in general is getting worse. I do think there is a I don't know I think in the UK or not so much in Spain at the moment, but I don't cover crime in Spain. Maybe I need to start looking more at crime in Spain. There's this tendency towards aggressive behavior, isn't there? That's how it feels sometimes. But anyway, it needs looking at. Obviously, we can't just throw away sometimes it feels like that because suddenly you're looking at it, whereas before you didn't look at it, so you didn't notice it. So it could be that, but we need to look at that more. But anyway, so now I've lit the candle, I'm going to tell you about this incidents in Ballarat. And see, just as soon as I saw it, I just thought that just seems strange because, murder is not a common crime, believe it or not. Sometimes you feel like, oh my God, if you follow true crime, people are being murdered left, right, and centre. But it is an unusual crime, actually. It's not a common crime. But first of all, we're going to look at the Daily Mail, then we're going to have a look at some videos on the news channels. So yeah, Ballarat rocked by a death of 23-year-old woman after the mother disappeared. So she's only 23, she's already a mother. So a dark cloud is hanging over the community of a regional Victorian town following the deaths of 2 women in the space of 2 months. Now, believe me, we're going to look at the crime figures, and this is unusual for Ballarat. So the locals of Ballarat, northwest of Melbourne, had already been struggling to come to terms with the alleged murder, of course we're supposed to say alleged, of Samantha Murphy, 51, and have now been dealt another blow following the discovery of a 23-year-old woman's body. And this poor girl, Hannah Maguire from Clunes, her remains were discovered in a burnt-out car near State Forest Road in Scarsdale, south of Ballarat, on Friday. So, hang on. The identity of the person who discovered her body and the exact timing of the discovery remains unknown, while 2 men, aged 21 and 22, were arrested on Sunday afternoon. Makes you wonder, did they know Patrick? Are they of any... it's a big place, so it's probably unlikely that they were known to Patrick or he was known to them. But the 22-year-old has been released, but the 21-year-old remains in custody. So criminal psychologist Tim Watson-Munro said the Samantha Murphy case and the discovery of Miss Maguire's remains would have a profound effect on the community. I imagine they're reeling, he told Daily Mail Australia. Well, you would be, wouldn't you? They're just sort of coming to terms, well, what with the murder-suicide or alleged murder-suicide, the alleged murder of Samantha, and now this. So the discovery of the dead woman would be very triggering for them. On a more generic level, people are probably wondering, how safe is it in that part of the world? Well, it does feel like that. Samantha was just going for a run. Obviously we don't know the circumstances of this case yet. Her remains have not been found, and she was on March the 7th. Patrick Oren Stevenson, 22. See the ages, 21 and 2 22-year-olds. You just think, what is going on with these young people? In a grim update, a Victoria Police spokesperson told Daily Mail Australia on Monday there is no new information in the search for her remains. The population of Ballarat is about 100,000 compared to Melbourne, which has 5 million residents. 2 women that have been presumed dead in roughly the space of 2 months. I think these sorts of alleged crimes have a profound impact on small communities. It's a bit of, said Mr. Watson-Munro, it's a bit of a dark cloud over them, and there's Sam, bless her. Oh, so this is Hannah Maguire. Oh, when you see just smiling and normal day like that, 23 years old. So her body was discovered in a burnt out wreck. I'm not sure what this picture is. It's the police cordon. Here's Patrick. Patrick, the absolute twonk, who's not saying where Samantha is. Just leaving her family to suffer even more. Absolute psychopath, this boy. This boy is a psychopath, because if he had anything decent about him, he would be saying where she was. All he cares about is himself. He doesn't care about that family. So no updates on the search. Of course, here was Mick talking when Samantha, when Patrick had been arrested. And we have seen that video. I'm not going to look at it now. So the experts said that while the news of the 23-year-old's death would likely trigger some negative emotions for Ballarat locals, it's hoped it may also motivate people to think back to Sam's disappearance and potentially recall any important information they could pass on to police. So a renewed search for Miss Murphy was launched by the police around the Bunyinyong Bushland Reserve at the end of last month, but called off after just 6 hours. That is really the last update that we've had. The police have been very quiet, and I know they're, they've got what's the word? They've got the trial coming up, or the next legal step is in August, so they're being very tight-lipped. So Samantha would have turned 52 on Easter Saturday, a milestone that her family had to mark without her, the first birthday without Sam. We looked at that, didn't we, what Mick had to say. He still searches for his wife's body every day. He said he misses his wife all the time, but he tries to hold his spirits up, saying, I need to be strong myself and look after everyone around me. Very sad. So I can feel myself filling up. Anyway, I don't want to go through all the circumstances of Samantha going missing again. We'll go and now look at one of the news items about this. So I believe this is 7 News Australia we're going to look at. Go back to the beginning.
Men are in custody after a woman's body was discovered near Ballarat. Let's go straight to Tara Stars live in Melbourne. Tara, what do we know so far?
Good morning, Anne. 2 men in their 20s have been arrested after a 23-year-old woman was found dead in a burnt-out car near Ballarat last Friday morning. Emergency crews began searching for her after she was reported missing by a family member. They were called to reports of a vehicle on fire in bushland near Scarsdale, southwest of Ballarat, which is around 145 kilometres west of Melbourne. It was there the woman's young body was found, was located inside the car. Homicide detectives executed 3 search warrants yesterday afternoon before arresting 2 men believed to be known to the victim. A 22-year-old has since been released while the 21-year-old man remains in police custody. Now, this incident adds to what has been a horrific start to the year for the community of Ballarat, Anne, after the alleged murder of local mum Samantha Murphy and the gold mines.
All right, Tyra.
Yeah, and then we're going to look at another news item. I mean, it's true though. I mean, Ballarat, I suppose, it's a bigger place than where I live in my village, but you just don't expect, 1 murder in a year, really. In a place like that, because it's not like Melbourne, it's not like Sydney, it's not a massive city, even though it's obviously not a little village either. You don't expect the things that have happened recently there to happen. So let's look at the other news item. Let's see, I know I've got it here somewhere. Yeah. So yeah, be very interested, any of you that are in the Ballarat area, because I do know that I do have quite a few viewers now in that area, to let me know what people are saying about all this. What do people think about it all?
Homicide detectives have arrested 2 men after the body of a 23-year-old woman was found southwest of Ballarat. Reporter Stephanie Ferrier joins us now from Melbourne. Steph, good morning to you. What do we know about this case?
Good morning, Lisa. Yes, it's understood that this body was found in a torched car near the States Forest Road on Friday. That's in Scarsdale, which is about 18 kilometres southwest of Ballarat. And Homicide Squad detectives have now arrested 2 men aged 21 and 22. They're both from Sebastopol, which is an outer southern suburb of Ballarat. And a crime scene has been established in Sebastopol. We don't know whether or not that's where these men...
Now, Sebastopol, that's where the alleged murder-suicide took place, where a guy supposedly, allegedly, as I say, people have been in touch with me to say that this isn't what happened, but I'm just saying the official version. Allegedly, a guy stabbed his wife and then killed himself. A biker guy. So that happened in Sebastopol. Because at the time when that happened, there was sort of, rumours, as there always is, about whether it was connected with Samantha Murphy, but it wasn't. It was found not to have been connected. But I don't know again, allegedly it's but that's a lot of, so that's three murders now within a couple of months. That's really unusual. I'm not saying they're connected, but and then of course they've had the bushfires. It just feels like at the moment, or this year certainly, Ballarat has certainly had more than its fair share of tragedies, and just makes you wonder.
Were arrested, but we have seen forensics officers there at the scene and also taking away evidence in bags. Now, police say that this investigation remains ongoing and those men are assisting police with their inquiries. They're asking anyone who has any information to contact Crime Stoppers. And of course, this is going to be another blow to the community of Ballarat after the disappearance of mother of three, Samantha Murphy, back in February after she went for that morning run, and her body has never been found.
Steph, thank you for the update on that.
Yeah. So, hi, Wendy Woo. Gosh, I mean, it's like, it's awful, isn't it? So many things happening in Ballarat. What's going on? Like you say, Gaisler, what about the energy? What's the energy doing in Ballarat? Hi, Vivian. What the hell is happening? And yeah, that struck me as well, Mariah, the similarity in the ages. I mean, to be 21 or 22 and to be murdering somebody just seems, I mean, it seems likely that this latest murder, there probably is some sort of domestic, but they're so young, isn't it, to get fed up with each other? I mean, couples do get fed up with each other, things happen, but normally takes a bit longer than 21 or 22. Hi, Rio. Hi, Jojo. So what that led me to think was, what are the crime rates in Ballarat? What is Ballarat? Why, is it, what is the crime rate? And has this year been different from normal? And actually, it has been different from normal, you'll see. And I think these sometimes young people, I mean, as far as the murder-suicide was concerned, the alleged murder-suicide, they were older, they were, I think, in their 50s, but both, Patrick, who's supposedly, allegedly has murdered Samantha, and these two boys that were arrested, one of which has been kept in prison, they're the similar age, 21, 22. So is it to do with drinking, drugs? Why are these young people doing things like this instead of, starting off? Things do normally go wrong a bit later on in life, but anyway, it's not unheard of. But I wonder if there is a drug culture there. So let's have a look at the crime rate in Ballarat. Now, I don't know, this is just something I found on the internet, a crime map of Australia. So bear in mind, I don't know how accurate it is. I'm just going from this. But its crime rank is 37 out of 100. Now, that doesn't seem that, well, it's sort of around the middle, really, isn't it? Now, I don't know. I suppose it'd be better if it was only 5 or something. But anyway, so the population, according to this, of Ballarat is approximately 115,622. You've got the area size, all crimes. So the total number of crimes, 8,827. I presume this is 1 year. So 76.34 crimes per 1,000 people. That's quite high, I think. I don't know. You'll let me know what you think. 776 violent crimes, 5,204 property crimes, 6.71 violent crimes per 1,000 people, 45.01 property crimes. What does LGAS? I hate initials. So 28.57% LGAs with less violent crimes, and 74.04% LGAs with less property crimes. Means nothing to me, all that. But let's go, if we look at it, I could understand it better when it sort of itemizes it better. So, of course, trends. Look at the total crimes trend. Now, it's strange because it seems that in 2019, crimes were higher than they are now. And then they went down, they dipped 2020, 2021. And then went back up again in 2022, and then 2023 they're going back up again. Then the violent crimes seems like they went down, but now they're starting to go up a little bit again. So we've gone from, so God knows what was happening in 2019. It seems like it was chaos, and then it was starting to go down until 2021. Do you think COVID has had something to do with it? Do you think maybe, because COVID, of course, affected a lot of people's mental health, and certainly young people's mental health. It did affect their mental health. So it seems that way, doesn't it? It seems like everything was going okay till 2021, going in the right direction, everything going down. And then it started going back up again. And I wonder if COVID has had something to do with that. Same with property crimes. Yeah, it was going down. Gosh, I mean, it was hardly any in 2020. And then, look, going up again after COVID. It's interesting, isn't it? Makes you wonder. Hi, Wesley. Yeah, look, makes you wonder, doesn't it? That COVID, it'd be interesting to see this in other cities, other places. Is it the same? I do think people's mental health was affected, and also economic reasons. We've got the cost of living crisis, which I presume they've got in Australia, just as we've got it everybody everywhere else. And maybe that's had a difference, made a difference. So you can see of crimes per 1,000 people in Ballarat, is more or less one of the highest in Australia, and it's more than Victoria, which Victoria, if you look at the violent crimes per 1,000 people, you've got Ballarat, Victoria, Australia, and the property crimes are big, aren't they? Well, we saw from where Samantha lived, there's a lot of nice properties there in Ballarat, but maybe if there are drug problems or there are poverty problems in other parts of, it's a big place, isn't it? So some of you out there that know it better will know. And whenever you have nice areas next to impoverished areas, then you have a lot of property crime and things. So the top crime types are theft, breaches of orders, burglary, break and enter, property damage, assault and related offences, deception, other crimes against the person, justice procedures offences, weapons and explosives offences are quite low. Well, in comparison, drug use and possession, disorderly and offensive conduct. So this was, when was this? I presume this is 2023. Dangerous and negligent acts, arson, stalking, harassment, threatening behaviour. Now, when we come down to, so your chances of becoming a victim of a violent crime or 1 in 49 in Ballarat. Sorry, 1 in 149, which, I don't know, it seems quite high, doesn't it? A violent crime. 1 in 146 in Victoria, and in the whole of Australia, your chances of becoming a victim of a violent crime, according to this survey, I mean, don't, remember this is just one survey. So according to this survey, in Australia as a whole, your chances of becoming a victim of a violent crime are only 1 in 95, but it's significantly higher in Ballarat. And your chances of becoming a victim of a property crime are 1 in 22 in Ballarat. In fact, these seem high everywhere. 1 in 31 in Victoria and 1 in 28 in Australia in general. So that's quite high, isn't it? Property crime. So this is just showing you where Ballarat is. Gosh, it's infamous now for me. The Bunyinyong area, that's where they've been searching for Samantha, isn't it? Ballarat. I'd never heard of Ballarat before the Samantha Murphy case, and now I feel like I know so much about it. So anyway, the Ballarat LGA, that's, what does LGA mean? It's obviously an area like, yeah, I don't know what it stands for. Maybe somebody's let me know in chat. Let me just have a look. Local government area, possibly, yeah. Yeah. There is no audio. Well, you should be able to hear me talking, old hippie. If you've got no audio, I think that might be your problem on your end, because you should be able to hear me talking, but there's no audio on this map. So look, how does Ballarat rank in crime? So Ballarat, yeah, it probably is local government area, is ranked at 37 out of 100 in Australia by number and severity of crimes proportionate to population, where 0 means no crime. Is it safe? It says it is a relatively unsafe area. Crime exists and may impact most people. Yeah, old hippie, I think that must have been a problem your end. So what are the main crime problems in Ballarat? Theft, breaches of orders, burglary, break and enter. What is the most reported crime in Ballarat? 3,399 theft cases were reported in Ballarat in 2023. Now, hold the phone because there's something very interesting coming up in a moment. Is crime increasing in Ballarat? Crime in Ballarat has increased by 8.45% from 2022 to 2023. So just in general, crime is increasing. It's got to be to do with lockdown, all this, I think. Now look at this. How many murders were in Ballarat in 2023? There were no homicide and related offences cases in Ballarat in 2023. We're now in 2024. We're only in April, and there's been 3 already. So there's been Samantha Murphy, there's been the murder-suicide, they're all alleged, and now there's been this murder of this poor woman. So that's 3 murders, and we're only quarter way through the year. Whereas last year, in 2023, there were no homicides in Ballarat. So, that's a 300% increase in homicides. I think, if I'm working it out right, I'm not very good with figures, to be honest. So what is the least safe suburb in Ballarat? The least safe suburb in Ballarat is Ballarat Central by rank and violent crimes rate. What is the safest suburb in Ballarat? The safest suburb in Ballarat is Invermay, Victoria, by rank and violent crimes rate. Where are the Ballarat crime hotspots? Most dangerous suburbs in Ballarat by crime, rank and violent crimes are Ballarat Central, Bakery Hill and Ascot. Now, I'm not sure which suburb was Samantha in. Let's have a look. I'm not sure of the actual name of the suburb where she was. Ballarat East. So she was in one of the safer suburbs. So Samantha lived in Ballarat East. So whereas Ballarat Central is supposed to be the most dangerous. Oh, and then it goes down to Ballarat East. So the ranking there is 17. So Ballarat Central is 53 violent crimes, or just crime in general and violent crimes, whereas Ballarat East it was 17. So it's not one of the highest, but it's not one of the lowest either. The lowest ones seem to be the 10s, Bunkers Hill, Canadian, Cardigan Village, etc. And Ballarat East seems to be one of the medium crime areas with 17, whereas the highest ones have got 50. So interesting, but to me the most interesting thing, well, apart from the most interesting thing on this site is how crime went down. I mean, look at how it was going down here. You know, from 2019, where it feels like it was very dangerous, you know, even more dangerous than now. And it's gone down, 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 down. 2021, boom, straight back up again for all of them. Yeah, the violent crimes are still not what they were in 2019, but they've definitely gone up. And property crimes, again, still not as high as they were in 2019. But since COVID, everything's gone up. And then the other interesting thing for me was the fact that in 2023, no homicide in Ballarat in 2023. And then here we are in 2024. Here we are in 2024. 3 murders already, and it's only April. Goodness me. You know? Hi, Helen. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I've been talking about that all the way through the video. You missed the beginning, Helen. Need to go back to the beginning. Yeah, that's this what I've been doing this video about. So yeah, so of course, Maria, yeah, there will have been reduction in COVID years because people couldn't go out. It feels like then once they got out, they all started going mad again, I suppose. You know, it's strange. Yeah, and you're right, Gaisler, she wasn't attacked in Ballarat East. So where was she attacked? She was attacked in Canadian, was she? So it was the Canadian Forest area, wasn't it? Or the Mount Clear area. I don't know what suburb that comes under. Oh, there you go, Mount Clear 10, though, that's low as well. I don't think there's many people live in that area. That's where Patrick lived, or his parents lived, not far away. That's one of the lower ones, Mount Clear, which is where she was attacked. Mount Clear, Mount Pleasant, the police were interested in at one point, weren't they? And even Sebastopol. Oh, this will be different next year because I know of 2 murders or alleged murders now in Sebastopol this year. And that was one of the medium ones. I think it'd be one of the higher ones next year. Scotsburn here. This was where Patrick was arrested, where he was staying when he was arrested, wasn't it? When he was house sitting. So suddenly, gosh, I feel like I know more about the Ballarat geography now than I do about UK geography. Geography is not my thing. Buninyong, of course, that's where the Mount Buninyong that they've been searching. So, yeah, very strange to me that no murders last year and then 3 this year. But as you're saying there, it was obvious that I suppose during 2021 crime was going to go down, but it had been going down, you know, before the COVID pandemic. It had been going down. Look how high it is. You know, the total crimes in 2019, it was right up at 9,500. It's going back up that way, but it was coming down. And then, of course, 2021, it's reached its lowest point because people couldn't go out, I suppose, and commit crimes. But it was going down anyway. And then, boom, right back up again. You know, it's quite, you know, it's noticeable. So the same with violent crimes. We started off with 850 in 2019, and it was going down ever so slightly. Obviously, it's gone well down in 2021. Now, violent crimes haven't risen that much. That's a good sign. They've risen, but again, they're still not back up to the 2019 sort of peak. I hope they don't go back up that way. And similar with property crimes, they went right down, look, 2020, and that because people, yeah, they couldn't go out and burgle places, but they're starting to go up again. But yeah, so I thought you might find that interesting. You know, it's just seems strange to me that you go through a whole year with no murders in a place and then suddenly you have 3 in 1 year. And so, yes, Helen, Sebastopol is where the alleged murder-suicide took place just after Samantha went missing, where the biker supposedly murdered his girlfriend and then turned the gun on himself and shot himself. But again, it's alleged, it's an investigation. We don't know for sure what happened. So I just thought I would come on. And then the other thing, of course, that's resonating with us is the age of. So this poor girl that's been found, she was only 23. The guy the 2 guys that were arrested, one was 21, one was 22. The 21-year-old has been released, I think it was saying, and the 22-year-old is still in custody. So it's the age as well and of course, Patrick Oren Stevenson is only 22 years old. So just seems unbelievable that young people could, because these are serious, you know, young people do commit crime, of course they do, you know, silly things, shoplifting, I don't know, driving too fast, you know, drinking and driving, all these things that people do when they're young and silly. But murder, you know, murder's not something, and planned, premeditated murder, you know, is not a common thing that young people do. That's not just going through, you know, the teenage phase or, you know, it's murder. How many people, all of us have done daft things when we were young. I've done more daft things than most, I think. But certainly, you know, never even occurred to me, you know, that any one of my friends or anyone in my age group would commit murder. So I don't know. There's something dark and negative going on going on there at the moment. So yeah, Roberto is a psychic, so we can't take, you know, as much as, you know, as I've said before, I've got a lot of respect for psychics, but I can't talk about what psychic said about where she was or where, because there's absolutely no proof, no evidence. It's just what somebody said, what a psychic said. And, you know, psychics, they're all saying different things. So I don't think Roberto knows any more than we do where Samantha is. In my personal opinion. But anyway, so thank you for being with me this morning. I hope you all have a nice day or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are, because I know you're all over the place. Yeah, Tracy, we used to call that black and white rabbit, Tracy. That was what we called it in Manchester, knocking on the door and running away. And I remember once doing it, and one of the shops near me, we did it, and the woman from the shop came out to me the next day and said, "You didn't knock on my door and run away, did you, yesterday?" And I'm going, no, like that, because apparently she was in the bath or something. And she had to get out of the bath and come down. So because I was in the bath and I had to come down, it was really inconvenient. I hope it wasn't you. And I'm going, no, it wasn't me. But yeah, we used to do daft things like that. We used to phone up. We used to, just when we had phone boxes, we didn't have a phone at home. We used to go to the the red telephone box, look in the phone directory, ring up someone with a famous surname. Like I remember we rang up all these Nightingales, people whose surnames was Nightingale, and asked, was Florence there? Like we used to do things like that. But I even felt awful about that, because once we rang this and this guy answered, he sounded quite elderly, and I said to him, "Oh, is Florence there?" So this was a Mr. Nightingale from the phone book. And he said, he said, "I did have a sister called Florence, but she's died now." And I was like, oh no, I just felt awful, so I think that was probably the last time I did that. But those were the things that we did. I do also remember we'd go and sell raffle tickets for a box of chocolates or whatever to try and get some money together, and so we'd go round all the neighbours, they'd buy a raffle ticket and they'd win a box of chocolates, and then we'd have a bit of money extra left over. Those kind of things just seem so innocent, really, in comparison to what they're doing now. Ding dong dash, Gaisler in Australia. Ding dong dash. Ah, dear me. Ding dong dash, I like that. Ding dong, yeah. Black and white rabbit in Manchester, UK. And ding dong dash in Western Australia. And what did... I can't remember now what Tracy called it. Let's have a look. Knock a door run. There you go, all those different names. So yeah, we send out our prayers for Samantha. Just hope her family gets some resolution. Now we've got more prayers to send out for this poor girl who's been murdered, and I suppose more details will come out over the next few days. The police have arrested him pretty quick, so that's good. Though one boy has been released, so we'll see what evidence the police have got. But anyway, thank you for being here with me this morning. I've got to go. I've got lots of Spanish classes today, and I will see you really soon. Oh, and remember to live and love carefully, wisely. If you knock on the door and run away, make sure... I couldn't run away now. That's the problem. I've been knocking on the door. I can't run. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye-bye.